Good evening. This is the Guilford Board of Education. It is Monday, August 11th. Thank you for joining us for our meeting. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We are in midsummer, which means we only have one set of meeting minutes to review here tonight. So I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the July 14th, 2025 meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
Any comments, corrections? I had a couple. On page 2, the large paragraph towards the second half of the page, the third sentence, so 1, 2, 3, 4 lines down, because this grade would be close to the recommended class size maximum, we will be watching it closely. If 3 first grade students move into the Cox district, they will need to be looking at additional section. Because the classes are 21 and 22, Dr. Freeman, I think you had made a note that they might be a little bit smaller, and if triplets come into the district,
Yes.
I'm just afraid if someone reads this, they're thinking we're going well beyond.
So
So I'm wondering if we could just remove the word 3.
yes, I think that's perfect.
Because I think it was hard to capture the.
Yes,
On page 3, under 8.3 federal grants update. Guilford share, so this is kind of in the middle. Guilford share is between 48,000 and the number was 65,000.
that's correct.
So that's just a small correction there. And then the only other on page 7, or maybe 2 more here. No, wrong. I have my page numbers wrong. I'm sorry. Okay, page 9. At the very top, we were discussing the superintendent's contract. The last sentence at the very top, the only other change is to remove language that is no longer necessary related to, I would add compensation for
Okay.
unused vacation days. And instead of through, this was kind of a complicated, and I'm sure I wasn't as detailed as I should have been. Instead of through, that were dependent on the superintendent remaining in the district until June 30th. Because the days were not just through that date.
It's June 30th, 2023.
2023,
Yes,
sorry.
it's a-
Yes,
it's
keep
a date
that, yes.
certain, not every June.
That's
30.
right,
Thank
that's
you.
right. Any other comments on these minutes? All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the July 14th, 2025 Board of Education meeting minutes as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, so that's unanimous. Thank you. Number 4, public comments on the agenda. Is there anyone who would like to address the board on a topic on the agenda? All right, not hearing any. I am going to turn to Ms. Baldwin for review and approval of expenditures. We have 2 sets that we're going to be approving tonight. One is closing out the 24-25 year. So it's a July report for the 24-25 year, and then also a July report for the 25-26 year.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
The total expenditures for the month of July 2025 for last year's fiscal year was $753,314 $1,000,000.63. This represents 99.79% of the budget as compared to 99.85% for the year prior. Revenue was $9,794.50 and included Medicaid and non-resident tuition. There's gonna be a number of budget transfers that we are going to have to approve later on in this. But that's because some of our lines are higher than expected and some of our other lines are lower.
Right.
But the total payments in the warrants for this month to close out the 24-25 fiscal year was $928,788.34.
Terrific. And we did in the operations committee meeting that happened just prior to this meeting, talk in more detail about the report and the warrants. But I will pause to see if my colleagues have anything else to add. One question.
Just to add one more thing.
Sure.
The total budget came in, again, as we do every year. Ms. Trudeau and her team are just incredible in how they're able to really put together this budget package. There is an excess in this budget that we're gonna again be talking about a little bit later to go into that non-lapsing education account. And because we'll be talking about that later in this.
That's right.
But really, the whole team should be highly commended for a budget of this size to come so close. It's incredible.
Thank you for knowing that.
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So is there a motion to approve the July 2025 financial reports as they apply to fiscal year 2024-25?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. That's everybody. Thank you. Next.
Next one is for just July of 2025 for the 25-26 school year. I'm gonna give the numbers. There's not a lot of really detailed. This is all stuff that we typically pay upfront, like dues, memberships and renewals of things. So what has been expended this month are $4,205,470.37. This represents 7.83% of the budget this year as compared to 9.14% from last year. We have had some revenue of $4,820.24 for non-resident tuition and pre-K tuition. And the total of the warrants is $2,211. Well, let me try that again. $2,211,841.96. The biggest thing to note is that we have already made our annual pension contribution that was made this July. And just that some of the payments that we've made up front, especially capital payments in things like our Chromebooks and different equipment for the Board of Ed gets paid now, but we get reimbursed through capital leases throughout the school year. But that's it.
And again, we discussed this as well in the operations committee meeting just prior to this in a little more depth, but any questions or comments about this from others? All right, so could I have a motion, please, to approve the July 2025 financial reports as they apply to fiscal year 2025-26?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, that's everyone. Thank you. Number 6, communications. Any communications that anyone wanted to note?
The only one is just on the topic I know we're discussing later.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we've gotten a couple communications around classroom.
About enrollment.
Right, so, and enrollment is on the topic,
I'll be speaking.
on the agenda.
Yeah.
Terrific, okay, terrific. Our student representatives are hopefully
Enjoying
enjoying their summer, so we're gonna breeze past that agenda item, and Dr. Freeman, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Thank you, and I will move right into the enrollment update. In your folders tonight, you do have an enrollment breakdown of grades K through 4. Well, you have the whole district, but it's broken out in detail in grades K through 4. Earlier in the summer, when last we met, I had notified the board that we were looking at the kindergarten enrollment at Lakes and that we had expanded to 4 sections, adding a kindergarten teacher at Lakes that is beyond what we had budgeted for this year. Tonight, I want to let you know that taking your eye just directly down to the next section at Leet, We had thought that we would be able, because of the last couple years of enrollment, to get by at LEAT with only 2 sections of kindergarten. Right now, as of today, we have 40 complete registrations for kindergarten at LEAT, and we know that we have 3 incomplete registrations that we are expecting to be completed. And then we sometimes will have enrollments as late as September. But tonight, I'm informing you that I have informed Mr. Seal that we'll be adding a 3rd section of kindergarten at LEAT. This brings us to 2 teaching positions that are now taking us beyond the budgeted number. So just in our last meeting, as we talked about the end of year financials for last year, we noted how staffing tracked really well and very positively last year. So this year, before the first day of school, we're already at 2 FTEs beyond what we had budgeted for. I do want to draw your attention to those numbers, though, because while it is appropriate to add 4 sections at Lakes for 60 students to create kindergartens of 15, 4 sections of 15, and while we are going to add a 3rd section at LEAT, I'm informing the board now that unless something changes significantly, those will be 1-year additions.
Right.
As those sections move from K to 1, we will drift back to 3 sections of 1st grade at Lakes, and 3 sections of 20 is completely appropriate in grade 1. And we will drift back to 2 sections of 1 at Leeds, where we'll have 2 sections of kindergartens that we anticipate will be 21. There's been a lot of conversation in the 1st grade at Cox this year, which is sitting at 22s, if we're going to put a section back in there. So it is more important this year that we bring the kindergarten numbers down to get them into the ranges that the board projects and
Right.
publicizes. And I want the board and the community to know that those are already changes that we anticipate to be 1-year changes. That's not something that we would carry forward. We were also keeping a close eye on a few other sections, and at this point we're holding in those sections. So this will be adjusted. Right now you see that the average class size K through 4 in Guilford is sitting at 17.9. When we make this adjustment at LEAT, that number is going to come down a little bit. Again, it is the challenge of having 4 neighborhood schools. But I did want the board to know, and as was noted earlier, the board and I received several communications this weekend and today from parents who are concerned about those kindergarten numbers at LEAT.
Right.
And this board had received several communications from parents earlier in the summer concerned about those 1st grade numbers at Cox. So again, to be really clear, the projected numbers for K run from 15 to 19, and 1st grade they run from 16 to 22. And so there's a different expectation from K than it is to 1 and 2. Again, wanted to bring that to your attention. We will be keeping a very close eye on that salary number and watching those FTEs as we move into this school year moving forward.
Okay. Any questions about?
So Dr. Freeman, any update? So it looks like, if I'm recalling from our last meeting, Cox did in fact get 1 more student enrolled in grade 1, wasn't it 22 and 21?
It was the last time we spoke, it was at 21 and 22, and
Okay.
it is now sitting at 22 and 22, which is right up against the limit with school ready to open in the next couple of days.
Okay.
Or in the next couple of weeks, I apologize.
Does that mean if we get 1 more additional grade 1 student at Cox, it tips the scale where we need to add a position?
No, this close, we will begin announcing those grade placements in the next week or 2. And so once those announcements go out, it is possible to see changes up or down during the school year. We would not split classes once they have been assigned. It gets very difficult, and oftentimes parents would like to see the class smaller, but very few parents are willing to leave the teacher that they've already been introduced to and that they've already gotten to know. So we've already held some of these decisions as late into the summer as we could. Once those announcements go out, it's very unlikely that we would change for a class that went 1 or 2 above the recommended. And again, the language in that policy is very specific. Those are recommended size ranges. They're not hard and fast numbers. We wouldn't change it after the beginning of the school year.
Thank you for the clarification.
Any other questions? And sorry, this is an obvious statement. I'm looking, it's August 11th. This is, we're weeks away.
Yes, we open in 2 weeks.
Just a reminder for myself out loud. Okay. Thank you. This is very helpful.
The next item for me to update the board on is a little bit related, but every year at this meeting, I give you an update on where we sit with hiring. And based on one of the updates that I just gave you, I'm not ready to tell you tonight that we are fully hired and fully staffed in certified positions. Position like this one that I just informed you of tonight, that kindergarten section has not been filled yet. We also are looking for a grade 3 position that needs to be filled. We have a part-time pre-K position that needs to be filled. And we might be looking at 1 or possibly 2 special education positions. So it's unusual for us to be talking about 4 certified positions that are still open at this time in the summer. They are still open as of today. We expect most, if not all, of those to be filled in the next 2 weeks before school opens. Principals are meeting candidates, and the HR office is filling those positions. We also technically have a vacancy for an assistant principal at Baldwin. We are in the process of interviewing candidates. Mr. Is looking for that replacement as well. But I want to assure the board and the community that that's not empty. Mr. Ross has agreed to stay on to help with the summer transition and the opening of school. And although Mr. Ross is fully and completely retired, he's staying with us until that position is filled. And even if we made a decision in the next week or 2, it's very likely that a school district is going to hold that candidate for 30 days.
Right,
So Mr.
right.
Ross will stay with us through that transition.
Thank you to Mr. Ross for doing so.
And really helpful to Mr. Buno as he's transitioning in and opening the school. We then have a number of non-certified positions to fill as well. We've got 8 or 9 paraprofessional positions that remain open. That is less unusual for this time in the summer to be filling those positions. We have one of our safety monitor positions that is open, and we have a network technician position. I've recently been in contact with our chief of police, and it looks like at this time, all 3 SROs have been identified and all of those positions are filled. So it's a little bit late in the summer to be filling some of these positions. Part of that is because we waited so late in the summer to make decisions about staffing based on enrollment.
Right.
And part of that is because we've had some really late summer notifications about vacancies. I'll note one additional vacancy that we hope is closed before the end of this meeting. We still technically have a vacancy for a principal at Adams Middle School, and there is an interim position that I'll be asking you to act on in the next few minutes. So hopefully that vacancy is closed before we adjourn the meeting here tonight.
Excellent.
Also wanted to update you about our administrative retreat this year. Our administrative retreat was unusual this year in that it was broken into 2 parts. We usually do a 3-day retreat where the leadership team comes together, does a lot of work building the team and planning for the year ahead. This year, we took the first 2 of those days in July. We met with professional developers from Partners for Educational Leadership here in Connecticut. And we worked on next level instructional leadership. And so our leadership team came together, met here in this room, and really talked about the important role of principals as instructional leaders at the building, and focused really on the pedagogy and systems and decisions around creating the opportunities for teachers to create the educational environments that we really strive for. I'm particularly proud about that because while we focused on that as 2 days of our retreat, and while all of our leaders who were available participated in that, we also partnered with partners and brought in some other administrators from around the state. We allowed other districts to buy seats into that opportunity. That brought down the expense for us and in fact enriched the conversation by having other leaders regionally who joined us. So a number of neighboring districts and some from slightly further away in the state who came in, worked with our team. We were more than half of the group, but it helped us to defray some of the costs locally here in Guilford and actually enrich the conversation. Today, we then finished that retreat by having the 3rd day. It was a little bit separated from the first 2. That was just our local team. The separation also allowed us to make sure that we had all of the new team members on board. So that was our full leadership team. Everybody was present and accounted for. It included our new special education coordinators at both the elementary and the high school level. So Chris Romeo, who is in fact one of our special education teachers, who's moving into the role of special education coordinator for the elementary level, was there for his first meeting as part of our leadership team. Dr. David Sachs, who is joining us from NFA and will be the special education coordinator at the high school, joined us, was part of that conversation. Kevin Buno, who has been in and out of our team locally here in Guilford, was back in here for the first time as a principal in Guilford, participating in that activity. Doug Hamill was there for the first time in his new role as assistant superintendent. He's been part of that team for 10 years now, but was there in his first time as the assistant superintendent. And Dr. Wesley Simon, who we're going to talk about again a little bit in just a few minutes, was able to join us for that experience as well today. So a lot of the work today focused around getting to know each other, building the team. We did that by engaging in the work, by talking about our own leadership orientations, by looking at our professional planning for the year. We did work with Sarah Gleason from Shipman and Goodwin about the changing school climate policies that we discussed in the very first meeting we had this afternoon. And so there was a lot of rich work, a lot of conversation, and a lot of opportunity for a team that is about 20% new this year to begin coming together and learning about each other and learning how we will work together. But we were really excited about that opportunity, even though it was oddly stretched across the summer this year. And then the last item that I want to update you on, it's not on the agenda for tonight, but the last time we spoke, we had informed you about $48,000 to $65,000 that was being withheld for review in federal grants. I do want to let you know at this time that those dollars have been released. And so all of those dollars are flowing, and those dollars are flowing to Guilford Public Schools. For what it's worth, I was never contacted by anybody as part of the review. I don't know how the review was completed. I'm not sure there was any review of any kind that was completed, but I can inform you that the dollars have been released and they are flowing to all of the big urban centers in the state of Connecticut as well as to Guilford. And
Thank
that
you.
concludes the report unless there's questions.
Questions? Questions? All right. Thank you. So we're up to number 9, board agenda. 9.1 is personnel items. We have a number here and I'm going to break them up by category. So first, we're being asked to ratify the appointment of the following teachers: Sarah Moore, Adams Middle School Language Arts teacher; Paul Salem, Lakes Elementary School instructional coach; and Jenny Shy, I may have mispronounced that, my apologies, Lakes Elementary School grade 3 teacher. Is there a motion to ratify the appointment of these 3 teachers?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's everyone. Thank you. Next, we're being asked to ratify the appointment of the following administrators. We just heard Dr. Freeman mention both their names. So Christopher Romeo, Guilford Elementary Schools coordinator of special education. And you've informed us that he is actually moving within the district into that position.
Creating one of the special education vacancies that I just named. Yes.
Right.
Creating one of the teaching vacancies, correct?
And David Sachs, Guilford High School and Guilford Transition Academy coordinator of special education. Is there a motion to approve these 2 administrators for appointment?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Said everybody?
I'm gonna abstain.
You're gonna abstain?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 5, and then Ms. Baldwin's abstaining. Okay, we're being asked to ratify the resignation of the following 2 teachers: Madison Petoskey, Lakes Elementary School grade 3 teacher, and Haley Smith, Guilford High School special education teacher. Is there a motion to ratify the resignation of these 2 teachers?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so that's everybody. And then lastly, we're being asked to ratify the resignation of the following administrator, Garen Mullen, Adams Middle School principal. Is there a motion to approve the resignation of the following administrator?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. Oh, I missed one, so sorry. But it is 9.2.
It's a separate item. correct?
That's right. So we are being asked to act on the appointment of an interim principal for Adams Middle School. Dr. Wesley Simon, who I will note is here tonight in the audience. I am going to turn Dr. Freeman to you if there's anything you'd like to say about this.
I'd just like to add that Dr. Simon's resume is in your packet tonight, and we feel exceptionally fortunate to have her available to fill this interim position for us. Dr. Simon comes with a really interesting educational background, including working locally, both in Connecticut and Massachusetts at the Cheshire Academy and at Stoneleigh Burnham School in Greenfield, Mass, both IB academies. She's also got experience working internationally that we find really interesting. And I think it is only a strength that Dr. Simon has been a Guilford parent, and her child has gone through school here through Adams Middle School. And so it's a return to Guilford for Dr. Simon. We are excited to have her. She spent some time last week meeting with Dr. Mullen and Mr. Papa, preparing for this transition. She was able to join the team today for the third day of administrative retreat. She's going to be a great fit. I do want to note this is an interim position. And while she's here tonight, I'll remind the board that the board in the past hasn't interviewed candidates for the interim positions. And I want to note that this is for a position, and we really appreciate this. We plan on posting and advertising this principalship for a start date of July 1 or sooner if the candidate can be available sooner. But we know that by being able to post for July 1, that we will draw the most qualified and most competitive pool that we can draw. So we are really fortunate to have Dr. Simon, who is available to us, willing to stay for that length of an interim position.
Right.
And will decide if she herself chooses to be a candidate in that search. I will note that the search will be an international search, as we have done in the past. We will advertise nationally. I know that we will draw candidates, not just nationally, but internationally. For the Baldwin position that we just filled earlier this year, we drew 77 candidates, and I expect this position to be every bit as competitive. So we're happy to have Dr. Simon here, and we appreciate you considering approving our request.
Terrific. So I'm going to ask for a motion to ratify the appointment of Dr. Simon for the interim principal Adams Middle School position. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any questions for Dr. Freeman or comments before we vote? All right. So there's a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Wonderful. That's unanimous.
You're
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Welcome. Really excited to have you join us. So terrific that you were able to join the administrative retreat today.
Yeah, it was
so-
wonderful. I really enjoyed meeting him.
Well, that's terrific.
Excited to get started.
Wonderful. Well, we're thrilled to have you. So thank you. Thank you so much. That's terrific. All right. So I'm now going to 9.3, which is to approve a donation of $1,859 from the GHS Stick Club to pay the salary of an assistant coach for field hockey. Is there a motion to approve this donation?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Wonderful. That is unanimous. Thank you to the GHS Stick Club for supporting our students. Act on 9.4 is to act on a request from elementary school principals to destroy obsolete English language skills block materials per policy 3214. So again, per Board of Education policy 3214, because the cumulative value of the materials is possibly more than $2,000, the Board of Education must approve this request. But the materials are old and do not align with our recently adopted literacy skills block resources for our EL program. Is there anything, Dr. Freeman, that you want to add? Speaks for itself.
It speaks for itself. They're
Okay.
just outdated and they no longer are appropriate for the way that we are addressing and instructing in this area.
And we have done this before. So again, we're being asked to act on this request to destroy obsolete EL skill block materials per this Board of Ed policy. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. Everyone voted positively for that. Thank you. 9.5 is to act on the educator growth plan. So a reminder that at our last meeting, this was a receive item only. Dr. Goss has taken the time to walk us through the updates to this educator growth plan, and those updates were informed by a careful review of the plan, but also in discussion with teachers and faculty in terms of their experience with the plan. And I just have to say, I was very impressed with this educator growth plan when it was first brought to us. And I was increasingly impressed at the approach taken by the administration to update the plan and really get feedback across the board. So tonight we're being asked to act on this updated plan. So I'm going to ask for a motion to do so, to approve the educator growth plan.
So moved. Second.
Any questions or conversation about?
I'll just add once again that the Guilford plan quite literally is now a model for the state of Connecticut, invited to share the Guilford plan with the state for 2 other districts.
Yes, it's very impressive. Wonderful. Thank you. And that's happening end of September, is that right?
September 30th.
That's what I thought. Okay, terrific. We actually, I would love to have you give us an update after that. Just, it'd be interesting to hear what that experience was. Can we come watch?
We get royalties was the
That
question.
was actually my question too.
We're open sourcing it.
More revenue.
No, but I would just love to, I would love to hear. That'd be great.
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. All right, that is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
9.6 is to act on budget transfers for the 24-25 school year. Ms. Baldwin alluded to this when you were giving us your finance reports. So at the end of every academic year, we need to right size the budget, and it is within our authority to vote on the transfer of funds from budget lines that were underutilized to budget lines that ran over budget again in order to right size. And I will note in Ms. Baldwin's report that we did end the year at 99.79% spent. So as required, and as Ms. Baldwin noted, under the direction and management of our wonderful director of all things financial in our district, Mrs. Trudeau, we are being asked to make the following transfers. So we are being asked to transfer to the employee benefits medical line in the amount of $305,000. Transfer to the electricity line of $560,000. Transfer to special services in the amount of $356,000. Transfer to telephone and internet in the amount of $29,600. Transfer to safety, sanitation, and upkeep of buildings and grounds in the amount of $162,500. And to the capital site improvements line in the amount of $248,000. This sums to $661,100. These will, the monies to transfer to these lines will come from the salaries line in the amount of $460,000, the tuition line in the amount of $1 million. I will note as an aside, this is an unusual amount coming from the tuition line. We had a very successful budget year with regards to that line. Supplies and materials and heat, $60,000. Transfer from supplies and materials, building and teaching, $51,100. And transfer from transportation for our regular buses. These are in contrast to the special services buses, $90,000. This likewise equals $1,661,100. So we are being asked to approve the transfers from the lines I noted to the lines I noted in that amount, $1,661,100. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Second, any discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor? Aye. All right, that's everybody. Thank you. All right. 9.7 on our agenda is to act on the transfer of unexpended funds for the 2024-25 school year to a non-lapsing educational account. So at our last Board of Ed meeting, this board voted positively to approve the request to create a non-lapsing educational account, which could be used for special budgetary items that may arise during any particular school year that are educational or facility related. This is an account that is created under the statutes of Connecticut. It does have an upper limit of 2% of our annual budget. It cannot be any higher than that. And we have the opportunity every year at the end of the school year to vote on submitting into that account anywhere up to the amount of unexpended funds for the school year. In the 24-25 school year that we just ended, we indeed have $150,631.21 unexpended, and we are being asked to consider putting that full amount into the non-lapsing educational account. So I am going to ask for a motion for the transfer of these unexpended funds. And again, in the amount of $150,631.21 to be transferred into the non-lapsing educational account. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right. Any comments, questions, anything I've missed in terms of this conversation? All right. Then all in favor, please. Aye. Aye. Opposed and abstained.
Can post.
Ms. Baldwin opposed. And the other 5 approved. All right, thank you. And then 9.8 is to act on the closing of a project that has been completed, a facilities project that has completed. It was completed some time ago, and we need to then officially vote to close out the project. So this is a project for Baldwin Middle School window replacement, project number 060-0102 EC as complete. And we're being asked to authorize filing of the EDO 49F. Is there a motion to do that?
So. I can have it. I'll give you the adjournment. How's that?
So your motion
That's
is
my motion.
our
yes.
4 minutes taker. No wonder we have to make corrections, right? Ms. Baldwin has approved that.
Raises their hand.
She always,
I know.
is there a second?
Again.
Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Any
Right.
opposed? Any abstentions? No. All right. Okay, so that gets us through the board agenda. We're now up to reports of committees. Does the policy committee have anything to report on tonight?
I do. We had a
Excellent.
meeting earlier today. God, that was a few hours ago by now, but we're still here sitting. So we talked today about the beginnings of policy 5128, which is student cell phone and personal technology use. And this was really just a preliminary meeting to start discussions, just among the policy, among the policy committee, not the full board. And things that we started talking about were enforcement. How would a policy actually play out here in the high school? We talked about goals, like attentiveness in the classroom, so that we're really trying to encourage students to pay more attention to their lectures. We talked about eliminating anxiety for kids with cell phone usage and reestablishing socialization. So we're really just starting to have the conversation around a preliminary look at this coming policy. And the expectation is that we will continue that conversation at our workshop meeting at the end of September. I think it's September 22nd. And then continue conversations from there, perhaps get community feedback, student feedback, and really hope to have a policy in place perhaps at the halfway point of the year or even potentially next summer. So this isn't something that we're looking to have in place for the start of this year, as we don't feel that we've had enough conversation or we've got the policy kind of ready to go yet. So stay tuned for more information about that, and please attend the workshop meeting at the end of September if you are inclined.
Excellent, thank you. Operations Committee, I think I will only note, Mr. Delventor, who's the chair, is unable to be here tonight on a well-deserved vacation. I think the only thing we'll note is we, as we often do in the summer months, got a in-depth report from our facilities director, Cliff Burnham, on a whole host of projects that are being done this summer. The facilities crew really tries to take advantage of the summer months as much as possible to get as much of this done. And so we heard a number of updates on those projects tonight, which was terrific. Dr. Hirsch, Curriculum Instruction Assessment Committee, anything to report out?
As I mentioned last meeting, we'll be meeting September, October.
Okay,
We'll be discussing, among other things, the use of artificial intelligence.
great, okay. Liaisons to town committees, does anyone have anything to report out? All right, none, and no report on Learn. We are at number 11 on our agenda, public comments. They do not need to be on the board agenda. Does anyone have anything to share? Welcome, if you would just say your name and address.
Barbara Hargraves, and I live at Lanton's Way here in Guilford. I'm here. Some of you might know this, my youngest just graduated in June, and over the past several weeks as I've been getting her ready to go off to school and my oldest ready to go off for her junior year, I've had a lot of time to do some reflection. And I felt compelled to come in because I just have this overwhelming sense of gratitude. And, academically, let me back up. My kids, we were fortunate enough to be here for all of their schooling. And it's an amazing school program, as you guys all know. Academically, they were prepared with a very rigorous education. They learned and were able to work on their critical thinking skills to get them ready for this next step, which for them was going on to higher education. And I mean, of course, our academic program is very strong and I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful for all the extra programs that they were able to do, music, my youngest did ECA and sports and everything. And all of that really wraps up into just an incredible program. But most importantly, over these last several days, I've really been thinking about all the people that work in the schools that have come in contact with them and who have connected with them. From their teachers who obviously educated them, but then went above and beyond to connect and always be there, not only in the years that they had them, but you know, going forward. I mean, my youngest stayed in contact with several of her elementary school teachers, and I know I'm not supposed to call anybody out. So maybe I'll send an email later, but they really connected. And I am so grateful that my kids had that start. And also that you know, people were here for me to answer my questions, to help out with support whenever we needed it. And so I felt that it was important that I came here, and I thanked the board and Dr. Freeman and all the administration, and most importantly, all the staff that have had such a positive impact on my kids over the past 15 years that we've been through the schools here. And so I just want to come and say thank you. And just in case you think that I won't be here, public school education is the most important investment that a community can make for its future. So I'm still here. I'll still be here. I'll be paying attention because I want to ensure that the schools stay strong for future generations of Guilford students. So thank you all. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And oh, I'm getting a little emotional, but it's all good. It's all
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I move
Thank
that we
you, thank
extend your speaking time 3 more minutes.
Well, yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time to sit through the meeting and then
Yes.
share that. I really appreciate it. And we will find a way to communicate that to our staff as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Please, thank you.
There's no other public here, so I will not ask for more. So I do think that I will now ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So
Second,
second.
thank you. All in favor? Aye. Thank you and good night.